Hey everyone, have you ever tried to talk about your day in Spanish and then just got stuck right after hola? Well, today we're gonna fix that. We're gonna build out your entire daily vocabulary, from the moment that alarm clock goes off to the second your head hits the pillow. Let's dive right in.
So just take a second and think about it. Right now, if you had to, how would you describe your morning in Spanish? If you're drawing a blank or just feeling a little unsure, seriously, don't worry about it. By the time we're done here, you're going to have all the tools you need to do this with total confidence.
Describing your entire day in Spanish, it sounds complicated, but it all boils down to one simple but really powerful idea. And that's exactly what we're about to break down. And that big idea? It's something called a reflexive verb. Now, that might sound technical, but all it means is an action you do to yourself. Think about it. In Spanish, you don't just wake up, you wake yourself up. You don't just get dressed, you dress yourself. It's any action that kind of boomerangs right back to you.
This is the absolute key to understanding it. The action literally reflects back on the person doing it. That's why they're called reflexive verbs. It's just like looking in a mirror. The action you do comes right back at you. So how do we spot these things? Well, in English, we have a pretty obvious clue, right? Words like myself, yourself, himself. When you hear those, you know what's up. In Spanish, the structure is just a little different. It's always going to be a verb paired up with a little thing called a reflexive pronoun. So let's go meet them. Okay, so how do we actually make these sentences work? Well, it's time to meet your new best friends, the pronouns. These little words are the absolute key to making it all click. And here they are. Honestly, the best way to think about this is like a matching game. Every single time you use a subject like yo for I, you've got to pair it with its reflexive buddy, me. If you're talking to someone using tú, you need te. Talking about él or ella, they always get paired with se. This one-to-one match is the most important rule you need to remember. So, how do we put all the pieces together? I like to call it the three-step shuffle, and it is super easy. First, you take a verb like levantarse and just pop that se right off the end. Step 2, you conjugate the verb that's left over, levantar, just like you normally would. For I, that's levanto. And then step 3, you just put that matching pronoun right out in front. So levantarse becomes me levanto. See? A simple little shuffle, and you're done. All right, theory's over. We have the tools, we know the steps, so let's actually start building a routine. We're going to walk through a pretty typical day, from the moment you wake up all the way to when you go to bed, using these exact verbs. These right here are the building blocks of your day in Spanish. First you wake up, despertarse, and then you actually get up, levantarse. Then you've got that morning whirlwind, lavarse to wash, cepillarse to brush, vestirse to get dressed, and then at the very end of the day, acostarse to go to bed. Seriously, these 6 verbs will cover a huge chunk of your daily routine. Okay, let's take one for a spin. Me despierto a las 7. Literally, this means I wake myself up at 7. See how that works? The subject is I, so we use our matching pronoun, me, and then we just conjugate the verb despertar to despierto. Perfect. And here's another one. Ella se lava la cara. She washes her face. You see, the action of washing is being done by her to herself. So ella gets paired with its buddy, se. It's that perfect mirror-like action we were talking about earlier. And what's really cool is that it works in questions too. ¿Te cepillas los dientes todos los días? Do you brush your teeth every day? Here, we're asking the to form of you, so we use the pronoun de. The structure stays exactly the same, which is just fantastic news. Okay, you guys, ready for a pro tip? This is a really neat little trick that will immediately help you sound way more fluent and natural when you're speaking. It all has to do with those sentences where you have 2 verbs back to back. So check this out. It's a cool little feature of Spanish that gives you options. When you have 2 verbs together, like I am going to shower, you actually get to choose where that little pronoun goes. You can either put it at the very beginning, me voy a duchar, or you can glue it right onto the end of the second verb, voy a ducharme. They both mean the exact same thing, and they're both 100% correct. How cool is that? So we've built our routine, we've learned a pro tip, but before we wrap this up, let's just quickly talk about a couple of common tripwires, because knowing what to look out for is just as important as knowing what to do. This is hands down the #1 mistake people make. They forget the pronoun entirely.
Just saying yo despierto a las 7 feels incomplete in Spanish. Since you're the one waking yourself up, you absolutely need that little pronoun, me despierto a las 7. Remember, never leave your verb without its reflexive partner. And the second big one to watch out for is a mismatch. The pronoun and the subject have to match. It's not optional. So you can't say se levantan nosotros because se goes with they, not with we. You have to use the pronoun that matches nosotros, which is nos. So the correct way is nos levantamos. Always, always make sure your subject and your pronoun are on the same team.
And there you have it. We've cracked the code on reflexive verbs, we've met all the pronouns, and we've walked through an entire day. So really, the only question left is this: how are you going to describe your routine tomorrow?